Hey guys, and welcome to Horses and Biscuits. This is a collaborative show that's put on between us at the Shoes and Biscuit and the guys at Rockin' Horse Media. We've been following the progression of Karen the Care Home series drama TV pilot they're putting together, and of course Izzy versus Jess, which is in production at the moment and due to be released on cinema very, very soon. Today, this is going to be a show all about a tribute to three great people that are around us. We've got actor John Challis, which you guys will know from as Boise from Only Fools and Horses. We've got Anna Karen from On the Buses, and Jack Morris, who's a good friend of Rockin' Horse Media. We've got all that coming up in a second. We can throw our comments and talk about the good things about these wonderful people. But what we'll do first is we'll go around the room and we'll let everybody introduce themselves. Joining us today is our good friend Simon Fischer-Becker, who you'll remember on the Reduced to Clear Biscuits episode that we did. Simon, would you like to introduce yourselves and let everybody know who you are?
Hello, I'm Simon Fischer-Becker. I've been working well with Rocking Horse, contributing to all sorts of things. Some of you probably don't know who I am. Others will remember me from Doctor Who and Harry Potter, and others probably don't care.
I'm sure they do. It's one of these once we know you, Simon, it's hard to forget you. And also joining us is Matt Campbell-Dell. Do you want to tell people a little bit about you, Matt?
Yes, I'm Matt. I run a company that books actors like Simon into personal appearance events around the world, and John Challis and Anna Karen were two of my long-term clients, who, of course, have fortunately passed away. So I used to book them into the events and look after them and make sure they're all okay, really.
Nice. And you developed obviously a nice and obviously quite touching relationship with these folks over time.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, they became good friends.
And that's really nice because, when we talk about the movie business and the stars and all these kind of things, you always think of it as this machine. It's just like, yeah, we've got a booking at 3:00 on a Thursday. Are you ready? Can you go? Obviously not. You've got this kind of really personable and a nurturing relationship with these folks, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, it hurts more because I was friends with them both, not just working with them. Became good friends as well. So I saw them outside of the work, outside of the events, that kind of thing. So it's a bit more difficult for them too than it would be for the people.
Apart from the fact, like, John Challis kind of brought me up as a kid. Only Fools and Horses was always on the TV when I was like growing up. So he kind of that kind of group of people kind of raised me. But also I do the Shoes of Biscuit as well. And John Challis is from Shropshire, and I've always regret not getting him on the Shoes of Biscuit. So I regret he's not here no more because I would have loved to have heard his story. But we'll hear more about that in a second. Also join us is my second favourite Baldy. That was a quote from you.
It was, yeah.
It's Gareth Thomas from Rockin' Horse. How are you, Gareth?
I'm all right. I'm a bit knackered. On top of this show is always going to be a really, really important one, which you always find the time for. But it comes along at the same time as we're right in the middle of post-production for Izzy versus Jess and that. So there's a lot going on. Not much sleep going on at the minute, as you can probably tell. But I'm here.
That's why he's got the lights dimmed, so you can't see.
Can't see all the wrinkles. Yeah, I've aged a lot in the last couple of weeks.
For the folks at home that aren't realising, and lots of people will be watching because we're kind of all attached. But if you're watching for the first time, first of all, hello. But you won't be aware that Gareth is trying to build a feature film in less than a month. So everything was filmed, it's been edited, and will be released very, very shortly. You just said that it's been quite difficult, but can you go into that a bit more? Like, has it really hurt you?
Well, it hasn't hurt in terms of it's been a good sort of hurt. In terms of, we always knew it would be difficult to do. We basically filmed the feature film in 4 days, and then obviously we had what was that, 2 weeks ago? So we had about then a month between that and when it's in a cinema. That's also got to get BBFC rated before it's in a cinema. That's still that happens this coming week. So there's that as well. We're hoping to get a particular song possibly in the credits, which we can't talk about yet unless we.
I keep telling you, I'm not singing. I'm sorry. He keeps begging me. He's like, Alex, will you sing us a ditty? And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm
But we had a successful crowdfund. We raised £600 in 24 hours, which was incredible. Showed the support Izzy versus Jess has got. So it's all been really, really positive. But there's no getting away from it. Even when it's really positive, there's a lot of work to turn a feature film around in the best part of 8 weeks, from conception right the way through to filming it, editing it, showing it, the Wellington Orbit, which is now sold out. We found out yesterday morning we've sold out our debut feature film premiere is sold out. So,
well done.
Well, thank you to you guys. And obviously Simon's in it. That certainly helps to to push some tickets, and Al, all the stuff you do for it. You'll be doing our Q&A on the night. So we're looking forward to seeing you there as well.
Yes,
so it's a team effort. It's a team effort for everybody. But Orla and Christy as our two main characters. 15-hour day, I think the last day was. One of them 6 months pregnant. It was we had a lot to do, and everyone pulled their weight and did their bit. And I'm really proud of everybody. So well done. Nearly there now.
I was there for one day of you guys filming, just the one day, and it was intense. It was intense. There was one point there was like 3 hours to record like 36 shots or something, and we were
it was insane.
Well done to everybody that's involved with that, and well done to you, Gareth, obviously, for doing this, because I know it's like a burning desire to make something that you've been waiting 4 years to make, but also you linked it with Comic Relief. So you're going to do a lot for the autistic community, and you're going to do a lot for charity as well on top of that. So everybody that's involved with that, I firmly salute you guys. Well done. We've got a couple of comments coming in. Dan Robertson Lewis, he says, R.I.P. Jack, John and Anna. Jane Pickworth is a good friend of ours at the Biscuit. She says, yo! Hi Jane. How's it going? She says, incredible work to you. And Dan says, apparently you've been keeping yourself going with Diet Coke and chippy tea every night.
It's not diet. I'm sorry, but it's actually bad.
Got to be full fat Coke.
Yes. Something in common with Anna Karen.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I didn't think of that. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Luke Allen is in the chat as well. Do you remember Luke Allen?
Yeah.
He says, hi, everybody. Sending best wishes for this show. It was an honor to get to work with Anna last year, which we'll get into, of course. And many things she said to us over those few hours we spent with her have become recurring in-jokes within the company. And finally, we have Orla, Izzy herself. She's in the chat. She says, was such a good experience working on Izzy versus Jess. There's lots more to come.
Oh,
right.
Yeah. See, right.
I said I was good before we started recording. I said I'm going to Tarantino this thing, so we're going to break it up into 3 separate parts and give each person we come here to speak about their own personal part of the show. And of course, you get in the comments as well. Offer your tributes in the comments or any comments. So first of all, let's talk about a very well-known actor in John Challis, who of course played Boise in Only Fools and Horses. Gareth, first of all, how did you get to meet John?
Well, it's weird. I actually got to know long before I met him, because when Rocky Horse was first starting out, we weren't even called Rocky Horse back then. We wanted to make a film about autism and anti-bullying. And just on the off chance, I thought I'll send him a message on Twitter, thinking he probably gets loads of requests and he won't look at it. Turns out he did, and he almost came to this event we were holding, this auction night, to raise money for the film. Christy, who just this last couple of weeks finally got to be in a feature film about autism as Jess Andrews, we announced her that day. That was 7 years ago. It shows how long this process has been. But John Challis believed in Rocky Horse making a feature film about autism long before anyone else did. And the bittersweet part of Izzy versus Jess is that, what would he think if he was here now, because he believed in it long before anyone else did. So that's how I first came across John. It wasn't until a local comic convention in Oswestry a few years later, I managed to get him to come to that. The organizer asked me to sort of be a middleman and so basically do what Matt does for an actual job. But I was just dropping an email and seeing what happened. And he came along and he was great then. And I got to interview him then, and also went to one of his like one-man shows he did. Went to that a couple of years ago as well, which was absolutely hilarious, I have to say. So that's my experience with John. A very giving man, didn't have to be, and also a lot taller than he looks. When I met him, I was like, up here somewhere. So I was not expecting that, but yeah.
Oh, I'm gutted I never got to meet him. I really am. I mean, there were opportunities there. I think there was a festival the Biscuit was invited to, but we couldn't come to, and he was there. And I believe he was at something. Was he at the Battle of Shrewsbury? I think he was at something, and I was there as well. And we were the opposite sides, and we kind of just danced around each other. So we're very, very unlucky. Matt, you worked with John as well. How long were you working with him?
Well, it was one of my very first clients, to be honest. And I started doing this job when I was 16. I'm now 24. So I worked with him for about seven years or so.
Yeah.
He did quite a lot of events for me all over the country. He was a pleasure to work with and look after, and his lovely wife Carol. She was so funny as well, and you know, it was great to be around them both. And I knew them, for about 6 years, 7 years.
Did he ever lean into you and give you like words of wisdom? I've got something to tell you, young man. This is what you need to do. Did he share any experience for that with you?
Yeah, a little bit. He encouraged me to continue doing what I was doing, because I went through a stage where I thought I wanted to do something different, or I wasn't sure if I wanted to do this anymore. But he encouraged me to carry on, keep doing it, and encouraged me to get more clients and just do as much as you can. And if nothing comes back, then that's my choice. But he gave me the motivation to carry on. He was one of the people that gave me the motivation.
Can I just say to everybody who's a creator out there, an artist, an actor, if you've got your own business or podcast like me, and you do have those wobbles now and again, don't you, Matt? You kind of like, oh my god, why did I even start this? I had one of them a few weeks ago, and like, it's not one of those, oh, are you okay, hun? Kind of conversations. I don't want one of them. I need someone to slap me on the face or throw water on me.
Yeah,
be like,
that's what it is.
It'll be all right, you know.
Yeah.
Those conversations are worth everything to a creator.
Yeah, they are, especially when it comes from somebody like John Challis as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's because it's somebody like him who he tells me I'm doing a good job. I'm doing a good job. Then that means a lot. So that's what gave me the motivation to do it, because it was one of my clients telling me to do it. That's what helped. But
Nice.
You get them wobbles occasionally, but you know, I just slap myself in the face. Really, I don't need anybody else to do it.
I thought I was a monster for feeling that. I was like, I'm such an ungrateful person, because I feel super lucky to have what I have.
Yeah.
I do. But for me to be like,
well, I'm very lucky with it, because of course I made it into a business, and I've made friends now with some of my clients, and I travel the world doing the conventions. So
nice.
You know, it's a bonus in that sense as well. A bucket list thing, traveling the world, going to lots of different places. It's it's good. I'm glad I carried on with it, really.
I am too. Simon, did you ever meet John?
Yes, of course. I met him at conventions, and the first convention I met him at, it was a 2-day event. So on the Saturday evening, we had dinner together, and that's when I first then met Carol, his wife, and together they were hysterical. They were a sketch in their own. You know, really, there should have been a camera following them around all the time. But the one thing I remember on that occasion, what I ordered, they didn't have, or they claimed that they didn't have. I wanted a side order of string beans, right? Because I wanted the salmon, and above the salmon there was a chicken served with string beans. So I thought, I can have that as a side order. And they said, oh no, you can't have the string beans with the salmon.
You what now?
You could only have it with the chicken. So John said, well, because he did it in his sort of Boise voice. He said, oh well, could he have the chicken with string beans, sans the chicken, but with a side order of salmon? and from that, because it was hysterical. I mean, the poor girl, she was only doing her job, but that was fair. And he just came out with it straight away. He seemed to be able to come up with a quirky comment without any thought. It was brilliant.
It's nice to meet these. You hear the word X Factor and it's like, oh yeah, but it's a genuine thing, isn't it? When somebody's got that raw talent, you know.
Yeah.
Danny John Jules, for example, I was at the point where I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to get the cat on the podcast, and it was like when things were at a lull for him. Now he is everywhere. He did his one-man show. He went around the UK and he's dancing on the stars, and he's doing all these kind of. He's everywhere now, and it's because he's just got raw talent, and he can do the cat thing, and he can do the dancing, and John, people like John Challis, and people that were where they were for a reason, because they were super talented. So to have that in the heart of Shropshire was just amazing. As far as like Comic-Cons and conventions go, Matt, Have you got any that spring to mind that you went to Boise? That the first thing you think of, whether
First
it be
thing
a
I think
memorable
of
moment
with John was in Driffield, Driffield Showground, District 14 events. I remember that. That was a good con. He was there with his wife Carol, and we went out for dinner the night before. We just had, I've not got any really funny stories with John, but it was always a pleasant experience being with him. We had dinner with him all the time. He'd make sure that he'd be there earlier in the evening for dinner, and it was always easy to look after and things. But I can't think of any funny stories off the top of my head.
No, that's fine. That's
fine.
But
yeah, it was.
I remember they never used a sat nav.
No, that was the funny thing. Yeah, because we had a hotel.
They used the A to Z.
I'm not sure what events we were at, but it was somewhere in England, and there was a hotel, but it was in the middle of nowhere. There was literally, it was behind another building, but it was not. There was no directions for it, and of course, they don't use a sat nav; they just use a map, and they took them an extra hour and a half on the journey around the city centre to try and find this hotel. But that's because he refused to use the sat nav because he was I don't know what's the word. He wasn't. He didn't like technology.
Old fashioned. Yeah.
He wanted things to be how it was in his day.
But above all, and like with most of the other celebrities that we meet, most, I would say 95%, are very genuine human beings and very, very kind.
Yes, very nice people.
And John definitely was very kind, but was always up for a laugh. And as I say, you always knew they'd arrived because you could hear Carol sort of chastising him.
I remember,
but it was just very yes. That's all I can say really.
I remember when the comic convention that I worked with Matt here in Oswestry, and it was a busy day. It must have been 3-4 o'clock, and I think someone who was looking after him that day said, "Oh no, he's too tired. He doesn't have time for that." And he insisted, "No, I want to go and do the interview with Rocky and all sorts of stuff." And he didn't have to do that, and he still took the time because he said he would earlier on. But we all say things earlier on, don't we? And then later on, you think, "Oh, do I have to do that?" But he insisted on still going ahead with it, and he came upstairs and he spoke to me as if it was the first interview he'd done all day, and he couldn't give enough time for us. So it was a pro, absolute pro.
We've got a video here. What is this, Gareth, that you sent me this video?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, this was when I asked John Challis if he would put together some kind of little video clip for our social medias and stuff. I've actually played this live at the event to raise money for the film, which was 8 years ago, which we're finally going to see come to life next week, which is bizarre. But and I just asked him to could you just say, "Oh, please support this event"? I didn't expect him to do it as Boise or anything. I just thought, just literally, "Hi, I'm John. Please support this Shropshire film," or whatever. And this is what he gave us.
Good afternoon, Oswestry. Boise here. Now, I'm sorry I can't be with you in the vaults, but I want you to give your support to the Rocking Horse Studios and their very exciting film project, Run for Your Life. Now, nobody likes a bully, and this local enterprise will help raise awareness of the problem of bullying and the effect it has on people of all ages. Now, all films need funding, so please give what you can. And I trust that Kia and Pete, Gareth and the rest of the team are looking after you. So enjoy the rest of the show, and thank you. Keep up the good work. Cheers.
Oh, that was lovely. That was really, really
great.
Completely in character. There's no script to that at all. He took the time to think of that, and I was very touched by that. And we stayed in touch ever since.
John did a video for my dad because during COVID because my dad used to come to conventions with me sometimes, and he hadn't seen anybody for a while at these events, and I asked a few of my clients to do a video for my dad, and John was one of the first people to do a video as Boise and sent it to my dad, which through COVID helped my dad as well. But he used to do nice things like that for people.
Yeah.
Lovely guy. Well, I've got coffee by me. I don't know if you guys have got anything in a cup or a glass or anything near you, but I think we'll just say cheers to John. I mean,
cheers. I've got nothing in my hand, but cheers.
Oh, yeah, well,
Cheers.
cheers. If you guys are around, sitting around with your phone in your hand or wherever you're watching this, cheers to John. What a great guy. I'm very, very sad that I never got to work with him. Oh. But it was great. Like I said, Only Fools and Horses was always on in the background. It had that massive appeal to everybody. So, absolute legend. Now, the next person we're talking about, there's a Tarantino in this thing. Anna Karen from On the Buses. This is we got a picture of me. Here she is with you, Simon.
Wow. Yes, that was in September last year.
Is that the last time you saw her, Simon?
The last time I saw her in person,
Yeah.
I spoke to her on the phone only 2 weeks before she died.
Right.
Because at Christmas, not only did I send her a Christmas card, but I sent her a copy of Let Zygons Be Zygons, my latest book. But it never arrived. And she contacted me, says, never arrived. and then what it turned out was a postman had put a card through the door to say, rearrange a delivery. But of course, at this time, Anna was bedbound and none of her carers noticed it. So I then, a couple of days later, happened to get the parcel posted back to me saying not collected. So I sent it to her again, but by her neighbour. So, yes, it's very sobering because I'd known Anna for 30 years. I first met her doing a job in Amsterdam. She then joined my murder mystery dinner theatre company, and she and her husband Terry were a wonderful turn, and we kept in touch all the time. And then, of course, thanks to Matt, we managed to get her a few conventions. And then the difficulty, I was talking to Matt earlier, the difficulty about telling stories about Anna is we have to have a bleep machine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lots of bleep machines.
But there's lots of things. But again, she was another very kind lady, but she wouldn't suffer fools slightly. I think one story I could tell where we don't need the bleep is again one morning we were having breakfast, and round the table there was Matt, there was Anna, but then there were three large gentlemen. I was one. Then there was another actor called Steve Wickham, and of course Ian McNeice. We're all around the breakfast table, and some lady came along doing some research about what people eat for breakfast, and she was looking rather dismissively at the three round people at the table. She's and I, to be honest, I rarely have breakfast at home. So when I go out and we stay at a hotel, I tend to have more of a continental breakfast. I used to go for grapefruit and yogurt, but now due to some medications, I can't have the grapefruit. Anyway, I was asked, what do you have? I said, grapefruit. Oh, are you on a diet? Which was a bit offensive. Then she asked Steve Wickham, and he said what he was having, a bit of toast or whatever. She then asked Ian McNeice, and he said, oh, yes, I'm going to have some yogurt and fruit. He said, I will then follow that with the full English breakfast and then some toast and jam. He then leant back and said, and then, of course, there's the leg of lamb. right. And, of course, the girl was very dismissive. She turned to Anna and hoping to get a more sensible answer. So what are you having for breakfast? She said, a can of Coke and a fag. and then she said, what we're trying to say, dear, is that you can off.
Yes, I remember that. That was funny.
But it was the
I forgot all about
Coke and a fag.
I forgot all about that.
But as we were saying with John Challis, and we're now saying with Anna Karen, when we were with them, laughs all day long.
Oh, yeah.
There were some serious times. I mean, Anna fell over, her scooter fell over, and it turned out she actually broke her hip. She broke some ribs. Was it her shoulder as well?
A shoulder bone, yeah.
Yes. But she insisted of getting up and going back to her table, and she stayed to the end of the day to complete the convention.
Absolute truth.
And she was clearly in agony. But there we go. But she, even in her 80s, Anna was always touting for work, and work came first. And if she agreed to an engagement, she would do it regardless.
Regardless of how she was or where she was.
But we had some, didn't we, Matt? We had some wonderful journeys.
So funny.
And
I mean, yeah.
Her language could peel wallpaper at 500
I love
yards.
people that come on a warpath, though. There's something really great about people that are just completely unfiltered.
Yeah, but the funny thing was,
I do it all the time, but you know,
I didn't care what anybody thought of her.
I love that.
She just said exactly what she wanted when she thought it. I didn't care what everybody else thought, and that was what I loved about it the most.
Yes, I mean, another story I could tell, which I will change the word for, right? is because we would drive to Anna to pick her up, and on this occasion we had Ian with us as well in the back.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, she got into. Anyway, we got her into the car, and then suddenly she had a coughing fit, and a really big coughing, a real smoker's coughing fit, and then suddenly there was silence. Right, there was silence. She stopped, and then just beautifully timed, Ian said, "Is she still with us?" and she said, "Nah, off." Very. So we had wonderful times. She was highly professional, and Matt did a very good helped her with a bucket list. Can you remember the bucket list thing you helped her with?
Yes, we did a convention actually in Morecambe.
Yes,
and we got there. I think we had a day between two conventions. So the Sunday we went to Blackpool. Because one of her bucket list was to see her name on the Comedy Walk of Fame.
Oh.
So I took her to Blackpool, and I've actually got a picture on my phone which I can share with you guys, which was a picture of her pointing down to her name on the Walk of Fame, just below or above Peter Kay.
Yeah. And
that's what made her day, really, because one of the things she's always wanted to do, but never thought she'd be able to do it because of her mobility issues. I took her to do that. But a funny story I have got of Anna is one of the last times I picked her up from her house on the way to a convention was we got there on time, but of course when we picked Anna up, we're always there for about 40 minutes waiting for her to get ready and stuff. But I knocked on the door on this one occasion, and she went, "Who is it?" And I went, "It's Matt." She went, "Hang on, I'm in my knickers." Yes. And then walked off, and I stood out there for ages waiting for her to finish getting dressed before I could put her in the car. But it's just the way she said things. It was funny, but yeah.
And of course, because along with John Challis, they had some beautiful green room banter and telling us their history, because of their age, they go way, way back. And I'm of an age that, although I never met the people they're talking about, I do know who they're talking about. Mm-hmm. So
I remember when they were, because last time, because we're Rocking Horse as a company are very, very blessed. We never knew this at the time, did we, Simon? But we actually recorded Anna's last appearance on camera, which you didn't know that at the time, of course. That happened to be on my birthday of all days. So I got to share some Rocking Horse cake with Anna Karen, and I'm a massive EastEnders fan. I know you introduced her, Alice, on the buses, but for me, it's just Aunt Sal. And so we're there filming. I was pretty ill this day, she is, as it was. And obviously, Al and Simon, I know in particular, will be aware of, most of our viewers will know who Luke Allen is. And I'm there setting up the camera and all the rest of it. And then Anna just leans over to Luke, goes, "Is that your dad?" To me. I was like, "Oh, I know I'm like 33 today, Anna, but there's no need for that." He's like, 16 or 17
We all
or whatever
get
it
that, though,
was.
Gareth. We all get that when we walk around with Luke. To be fair.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Yeah, but she was always kind. She was teaching people right up to the point where she then became more bedbound. So that it was only at that point that she had to stop. But so it was only really her last year or so. But so well into her 80s, she was still teaching.
Oh, bless her. Bless
And yes, and to be honest, after seeing her in September, Gareth, I sort of said to myself, "Oh, we probably haven't got long for her now." But
Yeah.
I didn't, and so I'm sad of her passing. The the consequences, or what's the words? The circumstances.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, made it even worse. And of course,
Yeah,
Anna had a Yorkshire Terrier. So then we were thinking, oh my God, did Daisy survive? Well, fortunately, we can now say Daisy did survive.
Oh, fantastic! So you weren't
And
sure
she's
about
with
that.
she's now Daisy's now with her regular dog walkers.
Yes.
Oh, brilliant! I love that.
Yeah,
I
and
love Yorkshire Terriers anyway.
one thing we should just say that there were lots of stories of neighbours saying they could hear Anna crying out for help. The answer to that is incorrect. She was asleep. She took because she had lots of pain relief, and she took heavy sleeping tablets, so she was asleep.
Oh, good.
For the people watching right now that aren't aware of how she died, there was a fire, unfortunately.
Yes.
So it's a bit of a consolation to know that she went peacefully.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, she
peacefully
took some sleeping tablets about 30 minutes beforehand, so she'd.
Yeah.
But
But
there
what I
was
will say
rumours
for it,
there was
Well,
rumours out there that it happened for she was a cigarette burnt the bed or something, but there was questions in the end of electricals. So
right, okay. But what I will say for it though is like I only met her when went with Simon last year, and obviously me and and Tony, Simon's husband, who was there, and Luke, we were like helping her out of bed and put her on a chair ready for this interview. But once she was in that chair and the cameras are on, she was as sharp as a tack. There was she was not some sort of fragile little old lady. Once the cameras are on, she knew exactly what she was doing at all times.
Oh yeah, but mentally she was still there. And even, as I say, I spoke to her about 2 weeks, maybe 10 days before she died, and down the phone, her voice, was still very, very strong.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think one of my biggest regrets was when I left that day with you guys. I said to her, I promised her that I'm going to put you back on a cinema screen. And of course, when we went to the Reduced to Clear premiere, we had a big one on the inside trailer, and probably the biggest part of that trailer was the Anna Karen part. She's the only one who gets any real audio apart from Simon's voiceover. And it's always been in the back of my mind that we did put Anna Karen back on a cinema screen, but I don't know if she ever actually knew. So that's always a little bit of regret that we never actually made her aware of that. So, but we did. Anna,
I sent her a copy on a CD.
Oh, okay, well, that's good.
Along with my book at Christmas. Now, whether she got it or whether she got to play it or not, I don't know.
Yeah, well, we tried. Yeah, that's good. It's good to know.
We have a video here, don't we, of an interview you guys had with Anna?
Yeah.
Shall I play this?
Yes, please.
Here we go. This is Anna being interviewed by Gareth.
We were paid in advance and not needed for a while. So we went to the Anne Frank Museum, which was fascinating. And then on the way home, I asked Simon what else he did. And he said murder mysteries. And I went, why haven't you asked me to do one? And he said, I don't think I can afford you. I said, you haven't tried. And then so we started doing murder mysteries together, which was great fun.
Fantastic, great answer. Love that.
Brilliant.
Really good. Really good. Okay. Fabulous. Okay, next question then. Simon's, as you know, making a documentary about disability awareness.
Yeah.
How important do you think it is that not only is there being a programme made about that, but it's being made by someone who's got a disability themselves?
I think it's utterly and completely important. And I think more notice should be taken by everyone, because it could happen to anyone, anybody you like.
Absolutely spot on, brilliant. go flying through these. I'm trying to think of what else we need to...
About because Anna knew me before.
Oh, before and afterwards, yeah. So you've known Simon for a long time.
Yes.
Can you sort of explain to us, you know, before his accident, how do you remember Simon as he used to be, as opposed to how he is now? Is there any difference?
Well, yes, it's the same.
Oh, I just cut out there. I don't know what happened.
Right on the punchline as well.
I don't know what happened.
Basically, so our viewers know what he's. Simon, do you want to say what she said? Do you remember?
Yes, I mean, you asked what was the difference, and she said, "Well, he's disabled."
Yeah.
He's disabled.
She literally said, because I said, you knew Simon before he was disabled, so have you seen any difference in him? And she just, dry as you like, just comes out with, well, he's disabled now. He wasn't then. Just like that.
It was very funny.
So
Yes,
dry.
That was quite emotional, actually, hearing her voice again, to be honest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what we'll do...
the Anne Frank museum that she mentioned, I first met Anna Karen in a queue going for a casting. And it just so happens that a good friend of mine, Clive Ward, I met him there too. And behind, so there was Clive in front of me, then there was me, and then behind me, there was this ochre, as she insisted, calling her colour, ochre-haired lady. And I'm saying, oh my God, that's Anna Karen. So I sort of said hello, and we sort of chatted. So that was great. Anyway, we went for the casting, and then we left. And then it turned out that Clive, Anna Karen, and myself, we got the job. And then on the plane over to Amsterdam, there was Clive and I together, and then in front of me there was Anna, and then there were two other people doing the same job, but they separately. So we became a natural, us three and those two. When we got to the studios, they said, well, we'll deal with these two first. You go off and do some sightseeing. And so they gave us a little bit of money and put us in a cab. And so that's how I got to see a more serious side of Anna. She wanted to go to the Anne Frank Museum. She was the one who encouraged us to go. And I'm very pleased she did.
Yes, fantastic.
And, you know, when she found out I did the murder mysteries, and I said that I didn't think I could afford her. And it's just the way she said, well, you know what it's like. One day I earn £1,000, the next day I earn naff. And from that sentence, I fell in love with her. And then, of course, I met her husband, Terry, who's a stand-up comic, an actor, and previously he was a stuntman. So, and he was very funny. And also he was part of the old musical routines as well. And he did a brilliant drunk, which I got a few clients complaining about when he did it on the murder mysteries. And I'm sure they weren't convinced, but it's very true.
I've heard a lot about these murder mystery things. I'll have to get them. I'm not at the prison anymore, so I might be able to.
Yeah, I don't do them anymore, but I did them for about 20 years. Absolute huge fun.
I like immersive acting.
It's a murder mystery story that takes place whilst people are having dinner.
Matt, you said about obviously hearing Anna's voice was a bit emotional and stuff. Now might be a good time to mention what you approached me and Rocking Horse about, which we're going to be doing now.
Yeah, well, I approached Gareth a couple of days after Anna died, and we're going to do a Anna Karen documentary about her life, which we're going to get different some clients and friends who knew her to say a few words and take part.
That's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So, how long does something like that take to make? Is it something you can just put together, or is there lots of information to gather first?
There's a lot to gather. And I was saying, me and Matt talked about it. I think it was yesterday. And we said about how long it'll all take. And I think because we got a John Challis one on the go as well, which we've been going for some time. And it's one of those things there's so many people whose lives she touched that you kind of have to go when people are available. And that might mean it takes a year to do, because you've got to find we're going down to see Ian McNeice in Cornwall in the next couple of months to get some stuff done with him. Obviously, there's Simon, and that's just a fraction of the amount of people that would want to contribute to this. Matt's come on board as a producer because he's the guy with it. When Matt asked us, I was like, it's a huge honour, but we're going to need your address book, mate. because you know everyone who needs to be on it.
Because you
So,
file the facts. Yeah.
yeah, but it's a huge honour to get asked. So I'm very grateful that Matt did come to us. You know, it's a huge honour.
Good.
We're going to her funeral, which is on Friday.
Oh, right, okay,
Yes.
yep.
On Friday, yeah.
Hopefully that's an opportunity to at least meet some other people.
Yeah, maybe mention the documentary to them and see what they take part. Yeah,
good idea. Let me know how that goes. Yeah,
you'll have the Biscuit support with that. It goes without saying, of course.
Thank you, Al.
And what we'll do is, again, with whatever you've got next to you with fluid,
This is fitting. She loved her Coke.
Yes.
yeah.
So cheers to Anna.
Cheers, Anna.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, right. Our final tribute today is about one of Gareth's friends, Jack, and I think I'll let Gareth, you take the lead on this one, please, sir.
Okay. So this is probably, from my point of view, the hardest bit of this show. As awful as losing Anna and John is, they were much older. And this is never a good time to go, or a good way to go. But you certainly don't want it to be to a 23-year-old in their sleep. So I think the best way to start is I've got something here that Jack's mum Joy has put together, which I'll read out now. And she said, "We would like to say thank you to Gareth for dedicating the upcoming film of Izzy vs. Jess to our precious son Jack, who passed away peacefully in his sleep from sudden and unexpected death in epilepsy. Jack had done his work experience with Gareth at Rockinghorse Studios for 2 years running. I think during the second year there was some doubt about whether the feature film would actually materialise. But after spending that second week with Jack, listening to his enthusiasm, passion, and his ideas about just putting out little tasters and removing most of the obstacles, I think it relit the flame that Gareth and the team had almost lost. And I can say for a fact that that's true. That's the thing with Jack. He had an amazing ability of making every person he met feel like they could do anything and they could conquer the world. He believed nothing was impossible, and I think that this showed in the remarkable life he led. He would be so proud to be part of the film. To us as parents, he was so much more than a son. He was the rhythm of our world and the beat we lived our lives to. He was the most amazing son anyone could ever ask for. He was our IT consultant, our photographer, our cameraman, our DJ, our entertainer, our comedian, our therapist, our family advisor, our travel agent, our Netflix advisor, and our selfie front guy. He was our total world, but most of all, he was the most amazing and loving son anyone could ever wish for. We are so proud of him and feel honoured to have been his parents. Jack, you'll be missed so much, more than words can say, but you will always be here with us in our hearts. We love you so much. There aren't, after that, there aren't words I can say to possibly do him justice, but me and Christy and a couple of other members of the Rockinghorse family did go to his funeral recently, and that was tough. That was difficult. Weirdly, I didn't know at the time he touched that many lives. There are people at that funeral that are family friends of mine who I've not really spoken to in a long time, and he touched their lives somehow in a completely different way away from Rockinghorse. And he was on the spectrum just like myself. And as Joy refers to there, he when I was being a bit of an idiot, because I know it's hard to believe now, I like to think. But there was a time when I wasn't making feature films and I wasn't doing documentaries with Doctor Who actors, and no one would trust me as far as they could throw me to get anything done because I was always too busy drinking and just committing not just career suicide but personal suicide, and in terms of like just social life and just being an all-round not nice guy. But Jack, almost to a point, it was quite annoying at the time, if I can say that, which would not give up. I remember one Christmas party we had here for Rockinghorse, and I just wanted to get smashed, to be perfectly honest. And he was there, so when are you going to bring Jess back, and when are you going to do the film? And he just, in his big Christmas jumper, this big smile, he just wouldn't take no for it. And I was like, mate, it's finished, it's all over, just let me have a drink. And he just never gave up. He just would not take no for an answer. And when we shot the film recently, which obviously Simon was part of, there's a certain scene when lots of the people from the past of Rockinghorse all feature, and we knew that Jack would have been here if he was around, and that's why we're making this film in memory to him, because he would be there, and he will be there. His family are coming to the premiere, and it's a sellout, and rightly so for the effort he put in. It doesn't seem fair that I'm still here after all the crap I put my body through over the last few years. Yeah, I might have sorted it out now, but someone who's dead healthy and is a totally nice guy that wouldn't wrong anyone, He's a far better man I'll ever be, and he's not here anymore. That doesn't seem right. But all we can do is try and be better people in honor of someone like Jack. So and his family, I think, in particular, deserve so much praise. The strength they've shown. I mean, I know a lot popping up in the comments now. I can't imagine. I've got a son myself. I can't imagine having. I know, Al, you have as well. I can't imagine having to experience a loss like that at any age, especially that young.
And that's what I was going to say about this was obviously I never met Jack, but like the empathy, it hits me right in the head. We've lost friends. I've lost loved ones. And luckily my kids are absolutely fine. But like you said, to put yourself in that position is absolutely heartbreaking. So again, I'm going to raise my drink. I know it's coffee. I'm sorry.
Coke for me. Again, I'm getting through it.
To you, Jack, and thanks for kicking Gareth in the butt repeatedly. Cheers.
Yes, someone needed to, and he did a very good job of it. He's left a big hole in all of our lives, like all three of these legends have. And I think, to be honest, that the fact that Jack Morris, a work experience lad, 2 years in a row, who, let's face it, the rest of the world doesn't necessarily know an awful lot about, but he's being talked about alongside two national treasures, and he doesn't seem out of place.
Nice.
It feels right, and I think that says a lot about the guy.
We've got loads and loads of comments coming through. You've seen them just popping up on the screen. There's so many, I can't read them all out. But Ola's got a long one here I'll read out. She says, I send all my love to Jack's family. I wish I could have met him. From all the stories I've heard from the Rocking Horse crew, I know we would have got on like a house on like wildfire on set. Such an honor to have helped concrete his memory into the world through Izzy versus Jess. Here's to you, Jack. And to everybody that's commented, thank you so much for sharing those comments.
Yes,
please keep them coming
you.
through, because right up until the end of the show, this will go out on Facebook. It'll stay there. It's not going anywhere. So thank you. And do you know what, Gareth? I want to say thank you to you too. You gave okay, so right, the way I want to put this is, you gave Jack a chance with work experience. I've had kids coming to me and asking if they can come to the Shoes with Biscuit on work experience. It scares the living daylights out of me. So much red tape. I'm kind of like, maybe if when you're 18, maybe, but like, you gave Jack a chance with work experience. You also gave Luke Allen a chance. You partnered up with him before he was 18. You're giving young people an opportunity to go out there and do these amazing things. So for that, well done, Gareth. Well done. And keep doing that. Keep offering opportunities to young actors, young producers, young filmmakers, because the world needs you.
Thank you. That's very, very kind of you, but very sweet. But it's most of the Rocking Horse family. We're now lucky. We get to work with people with experience, like the likes of Simon, the likes of Matt, John Challis in his time. But bringing young people through is just as important, and it's about getting that blend of the two together. Jack was one of many work experience students who came in on work experience and never really left. Like once they were in, it was like, okay, I've got to be here for a week for my job, for my college thing that I have to do. I get in trouble at college, but after that, they never really left. They're always coming back in to do other things. He became part of an autism awareness documentary we did, and it was just. I think that's a big part of it. I mean, I remember Jack saying to me once, because he went to a local college, which, in fairness, it wasn't really up to much, I don't think. But he said to me that the 2 years he came to us on work experience, the first year we took them into a local community venue, and they had to do a promotional video for the business, because we got the job as they were our client. And whenever work experience would coincide with either a short film we were making or a project we were doing for a client, I try and involve them in that. For what better way to get some experience than doing that? And they say that they learn more from that 1 week in Rocking Horse than they do a year in a classroom. They're just on Google, they're just YouTube and stuff. You can do that anywhere. They learn so much more.
We've spoken about that, haven't we?
We've
spoken about that with Luke Allen, about how, because he's still doing the school thing whilst he's doing the Rocking Horse stuff. So I'm kind of like, and of course his own thing. So I'm like, how does it compete? And he's kind of like, well, I kind of learn a little bit more here than I do there, but at the same time, I appreciate.
One thing I must apologise about Jack. Sorry, bless him. I did pull a little bit of a trick on him once when I first met him. It's a bit of a risk, but luckily he took it in the right way. Him and one of his best friends, Chad, who were on work experience with me at the same time. I took them into this community venue where we were going to do this job. That Rocking Horse was hired to do a promotional video for them. Obviously, I was never going to leave them to it. I was there for the whole process. But I basically went into Jack and Chad. I'd already organised it with the venue, and I said, you know, we knew what was going on. They were all part of it. I said, I'm going to play a little trick on these work experience lads, because you know what it's like. You need a bit of banter in the workplace. It's how you learn. So I went in there and I said, right, guys, no offence, but I need you to make sure we get this job right, because I need to pitch this job to these clients, and if they don't take the job, I can't feed my son at the end of the week. I said, and so can you and Chad go out there and just basically pitch doing a video for them, because I think it will sound better coming from you than me. And obviously it'd all been agreed. They were fine, no matter what happened. But to be fair, they went out there and they really sold it, and they didn't know that it was all a joke. But yeah, but he was always good up for a laugh as well. You know, he didn't take himself too seriously, which is very important in this job.
Absolutely, but also you've highlighted a thing for actors. I mean, what a lot of actors, even today, who come out of drama colleges, they've got no real experience of working in television.
Yeah.
It is a bit of a shock when it first hits them, because the first thing, particularly if you're doing something like a soap or something that's regular, there's very little time for rehearsal.
Yeah.
So you have to get into the habit of going and saying, are you in my scene? Are we together? Blah, blah, and huddling in a corner and just at least running your words. You get a sort of rehearsal when there's a technical check going on, but otherwise it's just bish bash bosh. And I'm used to that now. I'm prepared for it now. But when it first happened to me, I was totally lost.
Yeah.
But and you know, deal with the unexpected.
And also as well, it's giving someone the license to go and learn different things. Go and be terrible at something. Go and be good at something. Just go and do it. Just go and do it. And that's where I think Rocking Horse comes in. Is like, I worked sound for a while. I realized I wasn't good at it, but Gareth gave me a chance to try being a DOP, and then I tried that. And whatever it is, you
got to learn somewhere. You got to learn somewhere.
I want to give a shout out. I know I brought up the comments earlier with while you were giving that great sort of eulogy there, Gareth. But like, I want to give a shout out to some of the people that are in the comments. So that there's Kevin Val Billington says loved by so many people. Joy, which I guess is Jack's mom. Am I right?
Yeah.
She says thank you, Gareth, and she also added a really nice comment down here as well. It says, "Yes, well done, Gareth, especially treating young people with disabilities the same as everyone else." Again, I mirror that. Kelly thought your story was really funny. I thought it too, Gareth, about the trick. Sally Darby as well. She's in the chat. She said, "Cheers, Jack. We miss you. Brilliant nephew." There's also Karen Harris Vernon. She says, "Jack was a great kid. His smile never went away." That's lovely. And Kelly Leonard there says, "Amazing, Gareth." There's lots of comments coming in.
She say that's Jack's sister, by the way.
There was a comment up earlier that I brought up that she's a great brother. So all of you guys, thank you for tuning in and giving those comments, and keep them coming as well, because we'll leave this as a nice thing. It will stay on Facebook and people still see the comments. So even if you're watching this as a pre-record after we've gone off live, throw me your comments there. It'd be great. Right. Okay. To everybody that we've mentioned on this show, cheers to all of you. Seriously. Whether you are cheers. Whether you are the young Jack, the new future of film, whether you are the people we've learned from over the years, it's been nice talking about you and sharing the great experiences with you guys. What we'll do now is, because we're running short on time, we'll go around and talk about things that we're working on. I know it seems a bit. We need to try and finish this on a positive. Simon, are you working on anything at the moment that you'd like to tell our folks about?
Yeah, I'd like to tell you about a lot of stuff that's going on, but I can't. But of the things that I can, people have been very kind about my trilogy. My Dalek has a puncture, my Dalek has another puncture, and let Zygons be Zygons. And I'm currently working on Don't Take the Pith.
Don't take the pith. I like that.
Yeah. Which is all about fruit.
Nice.
Differently.
Matt, what are you? Have you got any conventions coming up that you want to tell people about?
I've got a few. I'm going on the Doctor Who Caribbean cruise in a month's time.
Nice.
Yes.
Can that be part of the documentary, Matt? I know it's not Anna Karen really, but can we just make a reason for that to be part of it? That sounds like something that you need camera crews.
Well, it's that, it's like it sounds like I need a cameraman with me or something. Yeah, exactly.
I think so. Yeah, I like this guy. I like this guy.
Yeah, so do that in I fly out in about a month's time. And then I've got more abroad conventions this year than I have in the UK. But I've got Germany in October. I've got New York and Chicago TARDIS in November, and then of course within there I've got several other UK conventions within that, including Hooverville in Derby, which is where I worked with Gareth.
Yes.
As well. Got a few jobs coming up. I do a bit of TV background work as well, occasionally when that gets offered to me. So I'm working on that, and of course at the moment as well, working with Gareth to do the Anna Karen documentary.
Nice.
And if I'm possible, can I just give a shout out to my friend in New York, Marty? If you're still here watching, Marty, hello. I hope you're all right.
Hello, Marty.
Hi, Marty. How's it going, stateside? Yeah, I'd love to chat to you, Matt, actually, because I run a podcast network called You Suck as well, which is US UK. And it's all about the difference between US and UK culture. So you taking Comic Cons over to America and then bringing them back over.
Well, there's a very big difference between Comic Cons in America than over
here.
Yeah,
of course. I'd love to chat about that with you sometime.
Perfect. Yeah.
Gareth, would you like to tell people what's going on with you? I mean, there's lots going on with you. How long have we got, folks?
What does that mean to me? We've got the small matter of a feature film, 8 years in the making, which started off being 8 years in the making. Then you have to do it in 8 weeks, and now it's 8 days to the premiere, ladies and gents. So that's coming up. In fact, you can't quite see her, but I've got one of the lead actors in the office with me now. She's about to jump on for a radio interview she's doing live for that. So that's the big thing. And then beyond that, of course, we've got Henry House / Karen care home drama series led by Orla Jones' Izzy Orchard, who people can see for the first time in Izzy vs. Jess. Not the Wellington All, but you can't even got a ticket yet because it's sold out. Snooze, you lose. But Telford Priory School, Friday the 1st of April, we're doing it all again. Simon's going to be there, who actually narrates the opening of the film and appears in it himself too. So lots of reasons to come along if you're of a horses and biscuits persuasion.
Nice. We are. Oh gosh, why? It's a great philosophical question. I accidentally clicked that. This is just one of those things I like to have on me. But why? Why do we do this thing? We do this thing because I think Shropshire is a wonderful place. We are the Shrewsbury Biscuit, but we cover all sorts of things going on in Shropshire. I was at Kids Fest a couple of weeks ago. That was in Telford. We spoke to amazing people around Shropshire. We followed Gareth, who is in Oswestry, there with the Rocking Horse thing, and that spreads across Shropshire as well. And there's people coming into Shropshire to make all these things. So that's why we do these things at the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. Please give us a follow on Facebook or on subscribe on YouTube if you're watching now. We're on Instagram and we're on Twitter as well. I'm finally starting to learn how to use Twitter as well, which is great. But also you can check out our webpage, which is the shrewsburybiscuitpodcast.co.uk. All of our content is available on there. You can click on a video, press play, and it'll play our audio straight from the website. That's if you don't want to listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, or Podbean. And our website is made for us by the lovely guys at Web Orchard. If you need a website, they'll make the perfect website for you. Right, let's get out of here, guys. This has been an amazing tribute. Yes. I think there's a really nice comment here by Karen. It says, a wonderful tribute to 3 people who left a legacy. And Joy as well says, thank you, everyone. Lovely tribute show. So thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Great. It's been fun. Thank you very much.
Catch you later, guys.
Yeah, bye.
See you later, guys.
Bye.